On the board where the ancient games played, cross points beckon a dance of strategy laid. Move with grace, let the pieces flow. In this game of minds, let your tactics show. Don't rush to middles, it's the wisdom we share. In the art of placement, handle with care. Black hole's the key with the final say. In this ancient game, every move's a play. Corners trap, a limited path they provide. In the vast expanse, let your pieces glide. Space to roam, a freedom so dear. In this battle of wits, let your path be clear. Double attacks, a threat lurking near. 2 points in jeopardy, the warning's clear. Strategize, anticipate a dance of the mind. In this timeless game, let your brilliance shine. Don't rush to middles, it's the wisdom we share. In the art of placement, handle with care. Black hole's the key with the final say. In this ancient game, every move's a play. On this board of destiny, our fates intertwine. Through strategy and skill, let your spirit shine. In the dance of pieces, in the game of mill, let wisdom guide you, let your dreams fulfill. Let your dreams fulfill. I got 9 men on the board, ready for the fight. Strategic moves, playing day and night. Trying to form a mill 3 in a row. I'm gonna win this game, everyone will know. Each turn I'm plotting, trying to outsmart. Mind games and tactics, I'll leave a mark. Moving my pieces, trying to deceive. I'm playing this mill game, ain't no reprieve. Mill game madness, it's a battle of the wits. Spinning and twisting, strategy that fits. In this game of nines, Morris, I'll be the best. Witness the madness, I won't settle for less.
In the time long past, on the village green, 9 stones laid out in a pattern unseen. The mill game, they called it, a test of wit and skill, a dance with the devil, a clash of iron will. Each player took their turn with strategy and grace, placing their pieces in just the right place. With every move, the tension grew so strong, a battle of the mind, but victory belonged. Oh, the mill game, the dance of the 9 stones, where dreams and hopes are built and torn. Oh, the mill game, a battle of wits and war, unveiling secrets untold, deep to the core. In the game's heart was strategy and art, planning moves, keeping foes apart. Symmetry in defense, play it smart. Patience and guile, let wisdom chart. The game of lines, where silence aligns. Each turn a lesson, as wisdom defines. In strategy and chance, wisdom advances. The dance of lines, where fortune dances. Through defeat and tide, with wisdom as your guide. In each move, let victory reside. As pieces fly in the game's artful style, every strategy sonified.
On the board where the ancient kings play, crossbows back in the dance, strategy lay. Move with grace, let the pieces flow. In this game of minds, let your tactics show. Don't rush to mills, it's the wisdom we share. In the art of placement, handle with care. Black hole's the key with the final say. In this ancient game, every move's a play. Gonna strap a limited path they provide. In the vast expanse, let your pieces glide. Space to roam, a freedom so dear. In this battle of wits, let your path be clear. Double attacks, a threat lurking near. 2 points in jeopardy. Strategize, anticipate, a dance of the mind. In this timeless game, let your brilliance shine. Don't rush to mills, it's the wisdom we share. In the art of placement, handle with care. Black hole's the key with the final say. In this ancient game, every move's a play. On this board of destiny, our fates intertwine. Through strategy and skill, let your spirit shine. In the dance of pieces, in a game of mill, let wisdom guide you, let your dreams fulfill. I got 9 men on the board, ready for the fight. Strategic moves, playing day and night. Trying to form a mill 3 in a row. I'm gonna win this game, everyone will know. Each turn I'm plotting, trying to outsmart. Mind games and tactics, I'll leave a mark. Moving my pieces, trying to deceive. I'm playing this mill game, ain't no reprieve. Mill game madness, it's a battle of the wits. Spinning and twisting strategy that fits. In this game of 9 men's voice, I'll be the best. Witness the madness, I won't settle for less. Witness the madness, I won't settle for less. Oh, oh. Witness the madness, I won't settle for less. Oh, oh.
In the time long past on the village green, 9 stones laid out in a pattern unseen. The mill game they called it, a test of wit and skill, a dance with the devil, a clash of iron will. Each player took their turn with strategy and grace, placing their pieces in just the right place. With every move, the tension grew so strong. A battle of the mind, would victory belong? Oh, the mill game, the dance of the 9 stones, where dreams and hopes are built and torn. Oh, the mill game, a battle of wits and war, unveiling secrets untold, deep to the core, deep to the core. In the game's heart, with strategy and art, planning moves, keeping foes apart. Symmetry and defense, play it smart. Patience and guile, let wisdom chart. The game of lines, where silence aligns, each turn a lesson as wisdom defines. In strategy and chance, wisdom advances. The dance of lines, where fortune dances. Through defeat and tide, with wisdom as your guide. In each move let victory reside, as pieces fly in the game's artful side. Let every strategy signify.
天兵我这幕对月如梭折旋，不忍其为戏，其喷战傲弥绵。3000座秘密遣散，就风云变。自然密码里24节凄恋，对称之美，寻常见，平衡之中刚有旋。知情世界曾不寻，只为交锋气与传。这歧路上人生无，旋转跳跃步步抽，不计求胜心更低，放弃对手到自修。后手次日从剑锋插针待时机，陈三入笔记，指着寂寞继续。与这谈字眼千里，指着早逝强人死，身不将来败不馁，境界高超自心知。孙子兵法巧先手，不可胜者替自走。多方以物有奇迹，不忘初心方终究。这歧路上路，旋转跳跃步步抽，不计求胜心更低，放弃对手到自修。内部其中间宇宙律。On the board where the ancient games played, cross points beckon a dance of strategy laid. Move with grace, let the pieces flow. In this game of minds, let your tactics show. Don't rush to mills, it's the wisdom we share. In the art of placement, handle with care. Black hole's the key with the final say. In this ancient game, every move's a play. Corners trap, a limited path they provide. In the vast expanse, let your pieces glide. Space to roam, a freedom so dear. In this battle of wits, let your path be clear. Double attacks, a threat lurking near. 2 points in jeopardy, the warning's clear. Strategize, anticipate a dance of the mind. In this timeless game, let your brilliance shine. Don't rush to mills, it's the wisdom we share. In the art of placement, handle with care. Black hole's the key with the final say. In this ancient game, every move Let your dreams fulfill. Let your dreams fulfill. I got 9 men on the board, ready for the fight. Strategic moves, playing day and night. Trying to form a mill 3 in a row. I'm gonna win this game, everyone will know. Each turn I'm plotting, trying to outsmart. Mind games and tactics, I'll leave a mark. Moving my pieces, trying to deceive. I'm playing this mill game, ain't no reprieve. Mill game madness, it's a battle of the wits. Spinning and twisting, strategy that fits. In this game of 9's Morris, I'll be the best. Witness the madness, I won't settle for less.
In the time long past, on the village green, 9 stones laid out in a pattern unseen. The mill game, they called it, a test of wit and skill, a dance with the devil, a clash of iron will. Each player took their turn with strategy and grace, placing their pieces in just the right place. With every move, the tension grew so strong, a battle of the mind, would victory belong? Oh, the mill game, the dance of the 9 stones, where dreams and hopes are built and torn. Oh, the mill game, a battle of wits and war, unveiling secrets untold, deep to the core. In the game's heart was strategy and art, planning moves, keeping foes apart. Symmetry in defense, play it smart. Patience and guarded wisdom chart. The game of lines, where silence aligns. Each turn a lesson, as wisdom defines. In strategy and chance, wisdom advances. The dance of lines, where fortune dances. Through defeat and tie, with wisdom as your guide. In each move, let victory reside. As pieces fly in the game's artful side, every strategy sonified.
On the board where the ancient games play, cross points back in the dance, strategy lay. Move with grace, let the pieces flow. In this game of minds, let your tactics show. Don't rush to mills, it's the wisdom we share in the art of placement. Handle with care, black hole's the key with the final say. In this ancient game, every move's a play. Gonna strap a limited path they provide in the vast expanse. Let your pieces glide, space to roam, a freedom so dear. In this battle of wits, let your path be clear. Double attacks, a threat lurking near, 2 points in jeopardy. Strategize, anticipate, a dance of the mind. In this timeless game, let your brilliance shine. Don't rush to mills, it's the wisdom we share in the art of placement. Handle with care, black hole's the key with the final say. In this ancient game, every move's a play. On this board of destiny, our fates intertwine. Through strategy and skill, let your spirit shine. In the dance of pieces, in a game of mill, let wisdom guide you, let your dreams fulfill. I got 9 men on the board, ready for the fight. Strategic moves, playing day and night. Trying to form a mill 3 in a row. I'm gonna win this game, everyone will know. Each turn I'm plotting, trying to outsmart. Mind games and tactics, I'll leave a mark. Moving my pieces, trying to deceive. I'm playing this mill game, ain't no reprieve. Mill game madness, it's a battle of the wits. Spinning and twisting strategy that fits. In this game of 9 men's voice, I'll be the best. Witness the madness, I won't settle for less. Witness the madness, I won't settle for less. Oh, oh. Witness the madness, I won't settle for less. Oh, oh.
天比我这不对月如梭这是不忍其为兮，其贫贱傲明年。3000秘密千散，就风云变。自然密码里24节凄恋。对称之美，寻常见，平衡之中更有炫。知其世界曾不寻，只为交锋其愚蠢。知其路上人生无，旋转跳跃步骤，不计求胜心更低，否极对手到自休。后手次日从见风插针待时机。